Alrighty, so let's tackle the question. We'll mark the keyword because the keyword marking is very important, we know, because it will help us to save time in the exam, and also uh, it will narrow down what we need as per the question, right? So let's first look at option A. A says Amazon Elastic Cache. Elastic Cache provides caching capabilities, what we need as per the question, but the problem with Elastic Cache is that Elastic Cache cannot integrate with DynamoDB database. That's why Elastic Cache is wrong. Don't just pass your ID certification, instead pass with flying colors with 5 keyword tricks included in the PDF exclusively for Diamond members and above. Become a member now by clicking the join button to unlock this perk. Then connect and inbox me on LinkedIn at the rate of Cloud Guru Amit or Instagram at the rate of Amit Physique so that I can help you out with the PDF access. Also, please consider checking my exclusive management cybersecurity Google Cloud courses on Udemy by searching either Cloud Guru Amit or udemy.com/user/Cloud Guru Amit, which will help you boost your career by understanding the requirements of your project manager and their thought process and how a project works in real life IT. Let's look at option B. B says DynamoDB Accelerator, known as DAC. DynamoDB Accelerator is meant for or built for DynamoDB, as the name suggests, right? DynamoDB Accelerator, right? It will accelerate the database in a nutshell. And DynamoDB Accelerator uses in-memory caching to achieve microsecond level response times for read heavy workloads. Let's keep this because that's what we need as per the question. Let's move to C. C says DynamoDB autoscaling. Autoscaling manages DynamoDB capacity to handle traffic but doesn't optimize for microsecond level latency, what we need as per the question. So C is wrong. Let's move to option D. D says Amazon CloudFront. CloudFront enhances content delivery globally but doesn't affect database response time or caching directly. So D is incorrect or just a distractor. Let's lock option. Before locking, if you look at the official documentation, it's mentioned DynamoDB is designed for scale and performance. In most cases, the DynamoDB response times can be measured in single-digit millisecond. However, there are certain use cases that require response times in microseconds. For these use cases, DynamoDB Accelerator delivers fast response times for accessing eventually consistent data. Looks good. We'll lock option B as the right choice. Okay, let's look at this question. This is about selecting most cost effective. We'll first look at option A. A says modify the application code to perform exponential backup when the error is received. Exponential backup is cost efficient as it spaces out retry attempts, reducing the frequency of failed requests without incurring additional cost. Let's keep it and move to B. B says modify the application to use AWS Software Development Kit for DynamoDB. AWS SDK, that is Software Development Kit, improves error handling with built-in retry mechanisms, reducing the impact of provisioned throughput exceed exception. What we have, provisioned throughput exceed exception error without incurring additional cost. So this is also looks good. Let's move to C. C says increase the read and write throughput of the DynamoDB table. Increasing throughput solves the issue but adds significant cost, making it less cost effective solution. So this is against the goal of the question. C is wrong. Move to D. D says create DynamoDB Accelerator cluster for DynamoDB table. DynamoDB Accelerator enhances read performance but does not reduce issues related to write throughput. Therefore, wrong choice. Let's lock A and B as the right answer. Alright, now this question will test your concepts on storage in AWS. Let's first look at option A. If you look at option A uses Elastic File System. Elastic File System, known as EFS, supports file storage, but its cost structure is not suitable for video files. We have video files here, right, in the question. So this EFS is not meant for unstructured data like video files of the size which basically S3 can manage unstructured data like video and photos and all, right? So EFS is wrong. And one quick tip I want to give you, that though the options looks big, I'm simplifying just looking at the main word or the main technical term. It will save lot of time in any kind of exam, because time management is an important aspect of any exam. If time management is not good, probably you might be running out of time, right? We need to manage time as well. So this is how we manage time, by marking or reducing the bigger options into a smaller one. Just like a cloud practitioner level, I'm reducing it. It will be very helpful. Please note it. So for now, let's reject it. We'll move to now option B. If you look at option B uses Glacier Deep Archive Storage and Glacier Flexible Retrieval Type. So if we look at this one, Glacier Deep Archive Storage, the retrieval time exceeds 10 minutes. As per the question, we have a time requirement as well, right? 10 minutes. Deep Archive cannot meet this requirement. That being said, option B is wrong. Let's move to option C. C says leverage Elastic Block Store. Elastic Block Store, known as EBS, is designed for block level storage, which is inefficient and expensive to store large video files which is of size like 2.5 terabyte in size, which is quite large, right, compared to S3. So for now, using Elastic Block Store will increase cost. Will remove it because question is looking for most cost effective solution. Let's move to D. D uses Glacier Instant Retrieval Type and Glacier Flexible Retrieval. So Glacier Instant Retrieval provides fast access for the initial 90 days, meeting the access requirement, while a Glacier Flexible Retrieval offers cost-effective long-term storage afterwards. That being said, option D is the right choice. And if you look at the official documentation, here we have the tabular view where S3 Glacier Instant Retrieval minimum storage is 90 days, retrieval times is in milliseconds, which is good. And for Glacier Flexible Retrieval, we have the retrieval times in minutes to 12 hours. So this will satisfy the requirement of the question. Option D is the right answer. Let's bring the heat to the snow. We got to select two correct answers. Let's first look at option A. A says publish a new version of Lambda function which contains the updated code. A new version of Lambda function version is required to apply code updates and facilitate traffic routing through aliases. Let's keep it. Now let's move to option B. Option B uses weighted routing in API gateway stages. Weighted traffic routing cannot be applied at the API gateway stage level. So this is wrong. Let's move to C. C says create an alias for the Lambda function. Alias allows configuring weighted traffic distribution, enabling the 10% traffic to be routed to the updated Lambda version. Let's keep this. We'll move to now D. D says set up a routing policy on a NLB, that is network load balancer. We know network load balancer is not a valid tool for traffic routing in the context of Lambda function. Therefore, D is just a distractor. Let's lock option E and say the right choice. Alright, now so let's look at the question. We'll first look at option A. We need to select two correct answers. A says DynamoDB. DynamoDB is suitable choice for persistent session data, ensuring externalized and scalable state management, what we require as per the question. Let's keep this. We'll move to B. B says Amazon Cognito. Cognito is designed for user authentication and access control, not session state management, what we require. B is wrong. Let's move to C. C says Amazon Elasticache. Elasticache provides in-memory storage for session state, allowing quick retrieval and efficient management. This looks good. We'll keep it. We'll move to D. D says application load balancer, known as ALB. Application load balancer handles load distribution, not session state externalization or storage. So this is again wrong. Let's lock option E and C as the right choice. Alright now, so let's tackle a question where we have S3 especially. Let's test our concepts on S3 and Lambda at the same time. Let's first look at option E. E says an email notification regarding the field S3 event is sent through Amazon SNS. Amazon SNS, simple notification service, doesn't send email notification for field events unless explicitly configured as a part of the setup. So this is wrong because we are looking for default configuration, right, as per the question. Let's move to B. B says the S3 event is redirected to a designated dead letter queue known as DLQ. Lambda function do not utilize a dead letter queue by default. We are looking for again default, right, unless dead letter queue is manually configured. So this is again wrong, just like option B, just like option A. We'll move to C. C says the S3 event continues to be processed indefinitely until it succeeds. Events are not reprocessed indefinitely. So this statement is wrong. The function retries twice and discards the event afterwards. This is incorrect. We'll move to D. D says S3 event is abandoned after 2 retry attempts. By default, Lambda function retry mechanism is configured to attempt processing twice, that is 2 times, before discarding the event without routing it elsewhere. That being said, option D is the right answer. Okay, so now let's test our concepts on networking related question. We'll first look at option A. A says modify the client get request to include a valid API key in the authorization header. API, that is API keys are used for authorization, not authentication, what we require as per the question via Cognito authorizers. So this is wrong. Let's move to option B. B says modify the client get request to include a valid token in the authorization header. Option B looks good because the client should provide a valid token in the authorization header for Cognito authorizer to work properly. We'll keep it. We'll move to C. C says update the resource policy for the API gateway API to allow the execute API invoke action. Resource policies manage access control, which doesn't resolve authentication issues related to Cognito. C is wrong. Let's move to D. D says modify the client to send an options pre-flight request before the get request. Options pre-flight requests are part of cross-origin resource sharing workflows which is unrelated to Cognito authentication errors. So this is just a distractor. Let's reject it and we'll lock option B as the right answer. Alright, now we got some interesting question where we need to delete or remove PDFs which are older than 95 days, and the question is S3 bucket. You might have already guessed the answers by looking here, so let me explain everything. Option A says modify the application code to perform daily scan of all S3 objects and delete files older than 95 days. Modifying application code increases development workload unnecessarily, making it less efficient solution, hence incorrect. Let's move to option B. B says implement an AWS Lambda function that runs daily to identify and delete objects older than 95 days. Setting up a Lambda function involves extra effort to write, deploy and maintain the code, which is unavoidable with a simpler S3 lifecycle rule. So this is wrong because we don't need complicated solution. We need simple solution with minimal development effort. Let's reject it. We'll move to C. C says configure an S3 lifecycle policy to automatically expire objects that exceed 95 days. Looks good because S3 lifecycle policies automate object expiration or deletion with minimal effort and no additional development. Let's keep it. We'll move to D. D says organize the S3 with a / key prefix. Organizing objects with a key prefix and using Lambda adds complexity and effort, making an over-engineered approach or like overworked approach. We don't need it. We need simple solution. Let's delete it. If we look at the official documentation, it's mentioned S3 lifecycle helps you store objects cost effectively throughout their lifecycle by transitioning them to lower cost storage classes or deleting expired objects on your behalf. That's what we need. We'll lock option C as the right choice. Alright, now so let's tackle a question where CPU utilization of EC2 instance above 85%. What should we do? This is very basic question because just by marking the keyword you might be knowing now. Let's first look at option A. Set up Amazon CloudWatch alarm. Looks good because CloudWatch alarm efficiently monitors EC2 metrics including when CPU utilization exceeds 85%, and we can get notification via SNS topic like email when threshold is breached. So let's keep this option. We'll move to option B. B says configure a specialized AWS CloudTrail alarm. CloudTrail doesn't log detailed performance metrics like CPU utilization, so it cannot trigger alarm such alarm. So B is wrong. We'll move to C. C says implement a cron job on EC2 instance. Using a cron job on EC2 instance is a manual effort and inefficient solution which will increase operational overhead, which we don't want in our IT projects, right? We don't want to increase operational overhead. We want to reduce it. We'll remove it. Let's move to D. D says deploy an AWS Lambda function that periodically reviews AWS CloudTrail logs. AWS Lambda querying CloudTrail logs is unnecessary as CloudTrail is not meant for monitoring resource metrics like CPU utilization. So wrong choice, just like option B. Let's look at the official documentation. It's mentioned you can create alarms that watch metrics and send notifications or automatically make changes to the resources you are monitoring when a threshold is breached. For example, you can monitor CPU usage and disk reads and writes of your Amazon EC2 instance and then use the data to determine whether you should launch additional instances to handle increased load. This is under CloudWatch. So it looks good. We'll lock option A, CloudWatch alarm, as the right choice. Alright, now we got a brainstorming question and this will test your concepts on AWS Lambda. So let's first look at option A. Option A, if we look, uses deploy a new version of Lambda function and enable provision concurrency. Provision concurrency helps Lambda function instances warm, which will significantly minimize cold start time and also meet the latency sensitive application requirement of the question if we read right. So this looks good because application, it says, demands low latency, minimize cold start delays. Let's keep this option A. We'll move to B. B says allocate the maximum available memory to the Lambda function and increase its reserved concurrency configuration. Increasing memory can improve execution speed but doesn't address the cold start issue what we have. So B is wrong. Let's move to C. C says adjust the Lambda function reserved concurrency to align with the current production workload. Adjusting reserved concurrency ensures consistent access but doesn't reduce cold start latency again. So C is wrong. Let's move to option D. D says submit a service quotas request to increase the concurrency limit for the Lambda function in the AWS account where it is deployed. Requesting a concurrency limit increases requesting a concurrency limit addresses account level constraints but does not resolve again cold start delays. So D is wrong. We are left out with option A and it is the correct answer. If you look at the official documentation to confirm the same, it's mentioned provision concurrency is useful for reducing cold start delays for functions. That is definitely Lambda because we are reading about Lambda here, right? AWS Lambda developer guide. So that being said, A is the right answer. Let's lock it. Don't just pass your IDS certification, instead pass with flying colors with my keyword tricks included in the PDF exclusively for Diamond members and above. Become a member now by clicking the join button to unlock this perk. Then connect and inbox me on LinkedIn @CloudGuruAmit or Instagram @AmitPhysique so that I can help you out with the PDF access. Also, there's an announcement that please do check out our courses, exclusive courses related to management, cybersecurity and Google Cloud on Udemy by searching Cloud Guru Amit or by entering the URL udemy.com/user/CloudGuruAmit, which is my profile, where you will find tons of courses related to management, cybersecurity, Google Cloud, and many more, which will help you boost your career by understanding the requirements of your project manager, their thought processes, and how IT project works in real life. Let's meet again, and thank you so much for watching this video.